Bienvenidos a un capítulo más de Conozca sus derechos, diálogos jurídicos con su anfitriona Lucy Rivera. Tengo el placer de presentarles hoy un capítulo de Conozca sus derechos acerca de la ley de la bancarrota. Tenemos como invitado especial a un abogado que se dedica solamente a la bancarrota y se llama Mark Rossi. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another chapter of Know Your Rights, Legal Dialogues, Judicial Dialogues. The topic of today is bankruptcy law. We have an attorney with us today. Attorney Mark Rossi is here from Rossi Law, and he will talk to us exclusively about bankruptcy. Welcome to the show,
Thank you.
Attorney
Es un placer
Rossi.
estar aquí.
Very good Spanish.
Desafortunadamente no hablo tanto, entonces, por eso voy a hablar en inglés. Si puedo.
Bueno, we'll translate it for you, Attorney Rossi.
Very good.
So,
Thank you.
We're here for bankruptcy. Please talk to us about what is bankruptcy?
Well, bankruptcy is a legal proceeding under federal law which allows people to effectively eliminate their debt.
Muy bien. El abogado Rossi nos ha indicado que la bancarrota o la quiebra, bankruptcy, es un proceso por el cual las personas que no les alcanza ya a pagar sus deudas pueden eliminar la deuda. Attorney Rossi, so this way of elimination of debt, how does it go about? What types of bankruptcy are there?
There are more than one type of bankruptcy. There is, for your average consumer case, there are basically two types of bankruptcy. One is called a liquidation, and the other is called a reorganization.
Entonces, tenemos dos tipos de bancarrota. Hay dos tipos. La bancarrota que usted puede declarar llamada liquidación y la otro tipo de bancarrota que se llama reorganización. Attorney Rossi, these two different types. Explain to us what liquidation bankruptcy is.
A liquidation proceeding is, it sounds like you're basically giving away everything you own. That's not the case. A liquidation proceeding is what we call Chapter 7, Capítulo 7. It's a relatively short proceeding. From the time that a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case is filed to the time that it's closed is approximately 4 to 6 months.
Hay dos capítulos, el capítulo 7 y el capítulo 13 para la bancarrota.
Right.
El capítulo 7 es un capítulo más pequeño que dura 4 a 6 meses.
Sí, exacto.
What is the point of bankruptcy?
The objective in a bankruptcy is to receive from the bankruptcy court what is called a discharge. The discharge is basically an order that enters from the bankruptcy court telling your creditors that they can no longer collect on that debt against you.
Uno de los beneficios de la bancarrota es declararse en la bancarrota para obtener lo que se llama como un discharge o un descargo de las obligaciones de la deuda. Y con esto es como una notificación que le dice a todas las personas que deben, que son sus creditores, que ya no pueden obtener ni un solo centavo más de usted.
Right. Es una gran protección.
Es una gran protección.
Yes.
Very good, Attorney Rossi.
Okay.
Excellent.
Estoy tratando, pero the idea behind bankruptcy is to protect people from their creditors. The idea is based on federal law, as we talked about. Federal law is above state law with respect to bankruptcy, so it's more powerful. It trumps state law.
Entonces, la ley federal es una ley superior, exactamente, a la ley estatal. Y entonces protege a la gente que se ampara bajo la ley de bankruptcy, que es una ley federal.
Right.
Attorney Rossi, there are two different chapters.
Right. We have Chapter 7, which we touched on. The idea behind a Chapter 7 is to eliminate what we call unsecured debt. The unsecured debt is similar to credit card debt. Another example is medical bills or hospital bills that you can't afford to pay for. So you are, by the way, bankruptcy is a legal right.
Entonces la quiebra es un derecho. So it's a legal right to declare bankruptcy.
Absolutely.
You don't qualify for it. Uno no califica para la bancarrota. Es su derecho. Si usted ya no le alcanza para pagar las deudas, se declara usted en quiebra. Pero but you've said that Chapter 7 es una manera de deuda no segura.
Right.
Como las cuentas de tarjetas de crédito, credit card bills,
sí.
como las cuentas de
Servicios
médicas.
medicales, sí, de hospitales. Los pagos que no pueden pagar son diferentes que, por ejemplo, una hipoteca.
Claro.
Hipoteca es asegurado, es un deuda asegurado.
Okay.
Es diferente.
Una hipoteca es, or a mortgage, es una deuda asegurada, es a secured debt. Mientras que las cuentas que uno tiene diariamente, Lord & Taylor, or, you know,
Sí,
I don't know,
sure, right,
Macy's,
sí, por ejemplo, yep.
Eso se llama no aseguradas, unsecured debts.
Right.
There are the small little bills that you owe.
Right. It's safe to say the discharge is designed to eliminate your legal obligation to pay on those debts.
Cuando usted recibe la orden de descargo de estas deudas, elimina el derecho que estos acreedores tienen para recolectar esa deuda.
Sí, se elimine la obligación,
La obligación, exacto.
de pagar este.
How do you qualify for Chapter 7, or how do you?
Well, there's really no, as we were mentioning earlier, there's no, it's a legal right to file bankruptcy. So there is no qualification to file bankruptcy. But there are two types of bankruptcy. We talked about Chapter 7,
Sí.
right, which is a short proceeding.
Liquidation.
Liquidation, exacto. The other form of bankruptcy is what we call Chapter 13, Capítulo 13. Es un caso que es más largo en tiempo. Por ejemplo, el caso dure entre 3 y 5 años. Nunca más que 5 años. Es designado para proveer la oportunidad para una persona I don't know how to say it in Spanish,
Sí, no,
to catch up on past due mortgage payments or past due car payments. It's designed to allow a person to take the past due mortgage payments or car payments and pay them back over between 3 to 5 years.
Okay. El capítulo 13 es completamente diferente al capítulo 7 de la bancarrota. Si usted aplica para bancarrota bajo capítulo 13, dura 5 años. 5 years, is that?
Nunca más. Entre 3 años, generalmente es 3 años.
3 años.
Pero si es necesario, podemos extender
a 5 años.
A
Entonces,
5
entre
años.
3 a 5 años. Y la deuda con la que uno cualifica es como una hipoteca, a mortgage.
Right. It's designed to allow people who have fallen behind on their mortgage payment or car payment, or if they have tax debt that they need to repay over time. It's designed to provide protection from other creditors during the case.
Entonces, el capítulo 13 está designado para proteger a la gente durante el caso, para que pueda ponerse al corriente con los pagos que tiene de las deudas. Por ejemplo, una hipoteca o un pago de su carro, un préstamo, even student loans.
Well, it doesn't. Student loans are different. They're treated differently under the bankruptcy code. They are unsecured, but they are very, very difficult to discharge.
A ver, entonces un préstamo educativo que es muy popular es muy difícil de que uno lo pueda retirar o deshacerse de su obligación. Es una manera diferente de bankruptcy. Would you say that a student loan qualifies under?
Well, a student loan, it's difficult. You have to actually file a lawsuit in the bankruptcy court in order to discharge a student loan. It's very difficult. It's a special treatment that student loans receive. It's not impossible, but very difficult.
Entonces, un pago de un préstamo es muy difícil de descargar por medio de la corte de bankruptcy. Okay, so then we'll talk about who can, under Chapter 7, how do you file for the bankruptcy?
Well, when
O who can file?
when you are considering bankruptcy, the first question that you need to answer is what your annual income is. There is what's called the means test. Back in 2005, Congress amended the bankruptcy code. They nearly rewrote the entire code.
Okay.
So what part of those amendments involve the creation of what's called the means test. It's a test that people go through to determine whether they qualify for a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13.
Ok. Entonces, cuando usted está pensando que quiere meter algún tipo de documento para la quiebra, usted tiene que considerar si por medio de su, bueno, de lo que gane usted, del dinero, del dinero de usted y su pareja, usted solo, si califica para capítulo 7 o para capítulo 13.
Right. The first question that needs to be answered is whether your income, whether your ingreso is above or below what we call median income.
Okay. Entonces, si sus ingresos son mayores o menores de lo que es el promedio, eso es lo que va a determinar si o no usted entra a capítulo 7 o capítulo 13.
That's the first question. If you, well, first off, the median income in the state of Massachusetts changes based on the census information. For example, the median income right now for a single person is about $53,000 a year.
Bueno, ¿y cómo determinamos qué es el ingreso medio o el medium income, el promedio? Se determina por, bueno, cosas como el censo. Y ahora el abogado Rossi nos está diciendo que eso es generalmente $50,000 ahorita, se ha determinado, y que cambia dependiendo la gente y dependiendo diferentes surveys como el censo.
El gobierno dice cuánto es este ingreso regular para una persona en Massachusetts. Depende en el estado donde vive.
Y dependiendo del estado en el que vive, el gobierno dice
Right.
o dicta o pone cuál es el ingreso medio.
Right. So if we find that the person is below median income, then sin pregunta, pueden comenzar un caso capítulo 7.
Capítulo 7,
okay.
claro.
If they are above median income, then the attorney and the client go through their regular monthly expenses and determine whether they have what is called disposable income.
Sí. Si el promedio es menos que el promedio que dicta el gobierno, entonces usted puede meter su bancarrota bajo capítulo 7, pero si gana un poquito más del promedio de ingreso, entonces usted debe, con su abogado, con la ayuda de su abogado de bancarrota, calificar para otro tipo de bancarrota, capítulo 13.
What we need to determine is whether the person has income that remains at the end of each month. If they have more than $182 of disposable income, then they cannot file Chapter 7, but they have to file Chapter 13.
Y la manera en que uno puede decidir a ciencia cierta si va a capítulo 13 es si después del mes usted tiene ingresos que le sobran, por ejemplo, un promedio de $108, $182, casi $200, 182, entonces usted puede meterse a capítulo 3.
Sí, este examen que se llama Means Test es un poco complicado y por eso es importante que pase tiempo, mirando sus gastos mensual y cuánto ganan, por ingreso. Es importante establecer usando los gastos. I don't know how to say it in Spanish. I'm sorry.
No,
so you have the expenses that are set out by the Internal Revenue Service.
Okay,
So
so
they're
the-
allowable.
Entonces, el gobierno, lo que se conoce como IRS, determina cuáles son los gastos,
Yes.
qué son,
What are permissible.
qué es lo
expenses.
permitido, cuáles son los gastos que ustedes están
Right.
permitidos.
So it's the means test is about 10 pages,
Oh, sí, eso sí.
line by line. We go by line by line.
Para
It's like-
capítulo 13, ¿verdad? That's
for chapter 7.
Okay, for chapter 7. Es un...
and chapter 13.
Ok, entonces el means test, el pequeño examen que le hacen para determinar en qué es.
Sí.
Hágalo con su abogado.
Es
muy largo.
el primer paso
Primer paso.
para decidir cuál capítulo vas a usar.
Perfecto.
Okay.
So we're here today with attorney Mark Rossi. He is our guest for the chapter today of bankruptcy law. If you have any questions or comments, please contact our show. You can contact us by email. We look forward to hearing your questions at lucinda.rivera@gmail.com, and we want to hear if there's anything of interest to you. We're going to continue now with Attorney Rossi. He's explaining to us bankruptcy. Abogado, let me say this in Spanish now. Si tienen alguna pregunta, amigos televidentes, estamos aquí hablando de bancarrota con el abogado Mark Rossi. Por favor, contáctenos cualquier pregunta a lucinda.rivera@gmail.com. Attorney Rossi, now we hear on TV that there are all these other alternatives, like call us if you want us to discharge your debt.
Right. Well, it's the regular commercial that I see often is, do you owe $5,000, $10,000 of credit card debt? These are very aggressive advertisements. And the reason that these are for debt negotiation, which is completely different than bankruptcy on several levels. Debt negotiation.
Let me
Go
just,
ahead, sure.
Cuando usted oye en la televisión que hay alguien que le está ofreciendo, si usted tiene una deuda, que llamen a ellos o los contacten y que ellos les van a retirar la deuda, eso se llama debt negotiation. Pero el abogado Rossi nos indica ahorita que esa no es la mejor alternativa para descargar una deuda.
These are programs that, frankly, usually do not succeed, and they end up costing the average person, sometimes thousands of dollars. The difference is between this and bankruptcy is that when you file for bankruptcy, you receive a discharge that applies to all of your creditors.
Cuando usted aplica para la bancarrota, recibe un descargo que aplica para todos sus creditores.
Right. Debt negotiation does not necessarily deal with all of your creditors. It basically, each creditor has to agree to negotiate the debt.
Oh. Y lo malo de que si usted se va con una persona que negocia su deuda, eso no aplica para todos sus creditores así a lo largo como si usted hubiera aplicado para un bankruptcy.
Right. So if I'm a credit card company, I can decide not to negotiate the debt and instead sue you.
Entonces, no aplica para todo, no es el mejor camino para descargar una deuda. Si usted tiene, por ejemplo, si alguien tiene una deuda de una tarjeta de crédito, puede que lo demande en vez de, y que no le haya importado en vez de negociar la deuda. Attorney Rossi, now tell us, the bankruptcy, what are the downsides in terms of your credit? ¿Cuál es lo malo o el punto débil o el punto flaco de meter una bancarrota?
Well, when you file for bankruptcy, it discharges all of the debt, but it does show on your credit report for 10 years that the debt was discharged in bankruptcy.
Cuando usted mete una quiebra, siempre va a estar eso por 10 años en su récord. So the fact that it's in your record, how does that affect you?
Well, the difference is, I think it's an important distinction. The difference between the bankruptcy being on your credit report versus having negative credit rating or negative credit report because you've missed credit card payments or there's a lawsuit against you, those show up on your credit report for at least 7 years.
Bueno, entonces hay una diferencia. Cuando usted mete una bancarrota o una quiebra, eso está en su crédito por 10 años. Pero cuando usted no paga una deuda o paga tarde alguna deuda, eso está en su récord por 7 años.
Por lo menos 7
Por lo
años.
menos 7 años.
Sí.
So what is the difference? Why?
Well,
What's the best thing?
I can't say that I don't think that there's very much of a difference in terms of your credit report being damaged. If you're not paying your bills, your credit report is going to get damaged. The difference is that when you file for bankruptcy, it establishes a point where you can start to reestablish your credit.
Bueno, entonces, cuando en cualquiera de las opciones que usted vaya, si usted no paga sus deudas a tiempo o usted se declara la bancarrota, las dos cosas van a dañar su récord.
Es el hecho.
So that will make you not able to get. I mean, if your record is damaged, then you will not be able to get a credit card in the future. You won't be able to get a loan.
Well, what I have found is that, and this is through my clients that have filed for bankruptcy, when you file for bankruptcy, it establishes a point in time, sort of a starting point, after which you can reestablish your credit.
Okay, entonces, cuando usted se ha dañado su récord, debe haber algún tiempo en el que usted puede volver a restablecer su crédito. But how long? Obviously, after 7 years or 10 years.
No. Most of my clients actually, once you file for bankruptcy and you receive your discharge, the majority of my clients have been solicited by at least 1 or 2 credit card companies wanting to extend them credit.
So what? Okay. So what is then the real impact of filing for bankruptcy and having that on your record for 10 years, or being late on your payments and having that for 7 years?
Well, the difference between the two of them is, in terms of your credit report, your ability to reestablish credit, to rehabilitate your credit. Right? That's what we're talking about, is trying to rehabilitate your credit. When you file for bankruptcy, you have a starting point. And you can reestablish your credit.
Okay. Entonces el punto de esto es tener la habilidad de restablecer su crédito y dependiendo de cuánto tiempo sea, 7 o 10 años, usted.
It doesn't take 10 years to reestablish your credit. On average, it takes between 2 to 3 years to reestablish your credit. The problem that's with bankruptcy. If you don't have bankruptcy and you have, collection accounts and all sorts of bad, negative reporting, it's more difficult to reestablish credit because you always have these negative items that are showing on your credit report.
And just to wrap up, let me just summarize that. ¿Es difícil restablecer su crédito o no? Usted puede restablecer su crédito.
Sí.
No tiene que esperar 7 años, no tiene que esperar 10, pero es la habilidad de poder restablecer su crédito lo que esto viene a hacer un impacto cuando usted se mete a una bancarrota. Bueno, estamos aquí en Diálogos Jurídicos con Lucy Rivera. El tema de hoy fue la bancarrota o bankruptcy law con el abogado Mark Rossi. Queremos oír sus preguntas, queremos oír si usted tiene algún tipo de consejos o algo que le aqueje, por favor, contáctenos a lucinda.rivera@gmail.com. We're wrapping up, Attorney Mark Rossi.
Yes.
You're definitely very knowledgeable about bankruptcy law, so thank you very much for being here today.
Es mi placer. Gracias.
And we will have you again so we can continue talking about this very interesting topic.
Sounds like a good idea. Thank you.
Bueno, gracias a todos. Y si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor, contáctenos. This is one more chapter of political dialogues.
Spanglish.
Judicial dialogues with Lucy Rivera. I'm your host today. And today the topic was bankruptcy law.
Thank you.
Thank you.